Well, welcome to my final show this side of Christmas. So it's 23rd of December and we're nearly there. So, firstly, before we get into the show and what I want to discuss today, come on, blokes. And the reason why I'm aiming this at blokes because the other half of the population are better prepared. If you haven't got someone a Christmas present, buy them an East Thurrock ownership. Legit, great way. If they're in the local area and they enjoy football, buy it for them. They'll probably come down thinking, oh, who cares? And then they come, they have a great time, and they really enjoy it. But regardless of where they are in the world, it's a football club they can follow. They can watch all the games online because they're all recorded and put up there. You've got highlights packages, you've got everything else there. So if you're lacking a Christmas present for someone that enjoys football, buy them an East Thurrock ownership. Just buy it, send an email to the club account and just say, hey, please can you send this to this person on X date and just give us a time as well. And I'll schedule that all into the system and that will send to them. It could be midday Christmas, up to you whenever you want to send it. But I can do that. So let me know if that's something you're interested in doing. You just buy the ownership online as normal, but then just send an email to the club account and I will get that all sorted. Even if you're doing it Christmas morning, if you do it early enough, I'll still be at home and I will happily get that done and send it through. So anyone has a last minute panic in 2 days, I've got you covered. So what I wanted to do in this show, and I'll do half of it in this show and half in the next show over Christmas, is just kind of have a look back. And it was an enjoyable exercise I did this morning. I just went to the Facebook page for East Thurrock, went right to the first ever thing we ever posted under the photo section, and just went, where were we the end of September 2023, and what have we done since? Because it feels like we've done a lot. Obviously, we've still got bigger ambitions for where we want to go, but let's just get a sense of that journey and remembering things through the process. So, if we go back to September 2023, first meeting, that was when we sat around this dining room table that I'm sat at now. We had a group of volunteers come together and say, hey, do we want to build a club? What does that look like? Is that something we're committed to doing? And it was one that I remember saying to the people around the table at a meeting, if there's only two or three of us, let's not waste the time. It's not worth it. If we've got 8, 9, 10 around the table that are committed, we can launch this. We're going to need more people along the journey if we want to get to where we are, because it's not one where we're going to be paying people to do jobs. I don't get any money. It costs me a hell of a lot of money to be at this stage now. It's not one anyone's doing this to get rich. You're doing it because the love, you want to build the club and everything there. So if you're interested in helping us, please, please, please put your hand up, get in touch and ask how you can help out. But that was it. That was September, the end of September 2023. We sat down as a group of fans, and many of the people I knew to nod to, but that was it. I barely even knew their name. So it's people that were fans of the old club, and we got together. There was obviously a few of them that I was friends with, but that was kind of where it started. October, we launched, kind of started outlining once a week of what's going on. Hey, there's going to be weekly updates. We're going to have monthly meetings for owners. We're going to publish our accounts. We just rolled out several things of like, hey, this is what we're pledging to do around transparency, democracy, and just like the high level. We didn't get too much into the detail, but it was like, this is what the vision looks like. We said, look, it takes a few months to get everything together, but this is what we're trying to build upon and put it together. Because when we put it out there, there was some people that said, who are you? We never heard of you. But it was kind of explaining what does that vision look like. So in November, we announced that it'd be down to the fan owners and the fans to decide where we play our football, because we didn't want just a handful of people to decide what happens. And that's what happens in Premier League football clubs. A few people at the top decide what they're doing, and that's it. You get on with it. We decided all the major decisions, let's push that to the fans and let's make that collective decision that we all agree and we're happy with. So December came along, and a big announcement then was 100% fan ownership. So we'd all own the club. And that has its positives and negatives. So positives is you're in control of it. It can't just be thrown to the wall. It can't be mistreated. The downside is it's an awful lot of work, because when you're owned by someone who's pumping in the money, hey, we've seen it with Man City, we've seen it with Chelsea, we've seen it with Newcastle, we've seen it for Man United and Arsenal over decades when I was growing up. the people with the most money win the most. So it was down to, hey, we've got this vision of we want to have a 100% fan-owned club, but we're going to need to stand up, put time commitment into this to build it to where we want it to go. So that was one where we announced that in the December. In the January, we had our public meeting at the start of the year. We launched our business plan the following day. So we said, hey, this is the vision, because we'd been sitting down from that sort of first meeting through to the end of December and just adding to it. And kind of, we didn't want to just launch with an idea. We wanted to put on paper, here's what everything looks like and how we want it to run, what we want to do, because we felt that was important. You can't just ask people to buy in and become part of something when it's not even a fleshed out concept. It was one of saying, hey, here's the vision for what we have. And it is an idea we're getting people to buy into, but at least there's some meat on the bone. And then we opened our ownership. So we said, hey, £50 a month, £50 a month. No, correct that. £50 a year we launched, and we only launched that one first. We said, hey, here you go. If you want to become an owner, then you can join. And it went down incredibly well. So early February, we'd already hit 100 owners. I think it was 22 days off the top of my head. We'd gone from launching to 100 owners, and that was fantastic to see. All the questions over, could we get there? There was talks, a realistic target of let's get there by our first game. But that went so much quicker than anyone was expecting. Even me, the eternal optimist on the committee, when it comes to ownership. As well, in February, we registered as a community benefit society. That meant we own the club. So it wasn't some concept that we threw together around the table. We are a legal entity. We're on Companies House, if you want to go find there. But we're registered as sort of effectively 99% of a charity. And that's good, because that gives us the protection that someone can't just come in. So obviously, lots of people have seen the Wrexham documentary, what's happened there with Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds gone in, bought Wrexham. If you remember right at the start of that, they weren't just going in and going, oh, what's the cost? Pay it, I'll buy the club. They had to go to the fans and beg and pitch and say, this is what we wanted to do. So if Dwayne The Rock Johnson went, hey, I'm The Rock, I want to buy the Rocks, he couldn't just walk in and go, there's the money, I want to buy the club. He could ring me and offer me whatever he wanted. I legally cannot sell him the club. We would have to come together as fan owners and go, do we want to vote on this concept that the Rocks presented to us? Yep, that sounds good. He's going to put this money in. Let's go. And then we could decide to go with that. But that would be the route it would have to go. And that's great, because that just protects us down the line. There's stuff in there like asset locks. So say, and that'll help us when we're applying for charitable stuff down the line, or even if the council gift us something through a property development, build a ground of our own in the future, or whatever it might be. It could even be just stuff like we're given a stand by an organisation or a company. We can't just then go on sell that the next day. We are responsible for keeping hold of that. So other stuff that happened in February, we launched our badge, which we'd had a contest to design that and then vote on it. We appointed our managers, so we'd gone through the process of managers and then appointed them. And then we voted on where we wanted to play. So 91% of fan owners voted on the Wildcrest, it's where we're playing now, the Peg, as many people know it, and it's been fantastic. We've really allowed us, and when people come down to play, they're regularly saying this is the best facilities they've seen in the league for people that own it. There's obviously Kings Park, the ground share, and they do have a nice stadium and everything there, but they're having to pay someone to go and play at someone else's ground as the junior partners in that, rather than this is our home ground and this is where we play. In March, it was kits and charity partners. So we opened it up to all of our fan owners again, design the kit, whatever you want, design or submit a charity partner that you want to appear on the kits. And so designed the kits, voted on them, and we announced them in March. And then the charity partners, they were selected. So most popular went on the home kit, second most went on the away kit. And we've raised hundreds of pounds for them already. So that's been great to see, and proud of what we can achieve, because hey, I'm in it to get a Saturday football team back and enjoy that part. But if we can have knock-on benefits as well, that's great to be a part of. As well, we got registered with the Football Sports Association, so they're really helpful in our launch, and we joined them. The April, we agreed the rent on our ground because obviously we couldn't go and agree a deal for where we wanted to play before we asked our owners. So when our owners said, hey, 91% of us, we want to play here, we went and got that done, and that's cost us £1 for the year. So a fantastic deal to get that sorted. Really nice facilities. It's got a bar. It's got all of that stuff that we said initially. We need a grass pitch to play on. We'd have taken 4G, but it was just never going to be financially viable. And we need to have a bar. And the reason for that is you just can't. I don't want to go and watch football where I'm just stood in a park. You can't drink, you can't do anything, and it's just not fun. You want to be able to go there and there's somewhere warm inside, there's somewhere to eat food, and that gives you that really nice balance. And then we also launched our month owners forum. Oh, owners forum. So we launched Slack, which is it's a tool a bit like WhatsApp and loads of other stuff, but effectively it's an online forum to allow owners to come together and chat to each other. So the managers are regularly dropping in there and giving updates. Players will pop up in there, committees in there, owners around the world are in there, and it's just such a nice vibe that it brings everyone closer together because we've got now 277 owners, I want to say off the top of my head. It's definitely north of 275. But having them in a place where everyone can come together, it just creates a great environment. So that's there. If you're an owner, keep an eye out on the Tuesday emails. The link's in there. If not, just send me an email and I will send you the link. But yeah, that's been a great addition. And that just came from one of our owners. Actually, our owner from Qatar floated that. And he just said, hey, this would be great if we had this. And I said, that's a great idea. Can you give me a few months just while we get everything together? Because I think he came along in January or Feb. And then we will happily launch that in April. In May, we hit 200 owners. So the growth just didn't slow down. Thank you to everyone for that. And then we had our trial day. So we had over 100 people applied to that. And to whittle down the list for on the day, and I forget how many people were there on the day, but it was great to see so many people. We were open and honest. We said, look, we're not paying players. We're a new club. We're going to set up, and this is what our ambition is. And people, I want to be a part of this journey. And that was a great, just really good to see that you can build all this stuff, and it's like the line from Field of Dreams, build it and they will come. You just don't know if they will come when you're initially setting it up. So we did all this work, hundreds of hours, and then it was like, right, let's announce ownership, and it worked. Let's announce we're going to have a team. This is what's going on. And the players then wanted to say, hey, I wanted to go and play here. So really, really welcoming to see and positive, and it keeps you driving and spending all of those extra hours that you throw at it. In June, we published our half-year accounts. So it wasn't one where we needed to publish accounts. So where you start in a halfway through a financial year, we spoke to the FSA and they said, don't publish at the end of half a year. Wait and do sort of a 1.5 year official publish. But in the meantime, we want to be super transparent. So on top of every week, we send an email out saying how much money in and out the accounts. So if you're an owner, you'll get that email every Tuesday. But we decided let's go above and beyond, and we'll just publish kind of the draft accounts for the half year so people can see where we are financially. So that's on our website. You can go and view that. Also in June, we went to install our dugouts. They got stolen, which is a nightmare, but it is what it is. So after they were taken, we got together as fans, committee, and we just built dugouts. That massive help from Wildcrest Sports Social Club. So Gary, who's the landlord there, just stood up and said, hey, what do you need? Scope it out. Right, here's all the sort of wood and everything. Pop them together. So no, massive thank you to him and the team there. They've been brilliant. Lots of the stuff that you see down there, whether it's the metal barriers around the pitch, everything like that, they've stood up. They've never been like, oh, we need your money for this. They're like, what do you need? Let's get this done. And several times we've tried to do things on the cheap, and it's been like, I'm not having that. We're going to pay a little bit more as the club being the Wildcrest Club rather than us, and we're going to make sure that it's done properly. And that's great because we've got to be mindful of every single penny that we've got as a committee, a club, because that's owners' money, sponsors' money, everything coming in there, fundraising money. Whereas they're a business charity entity and that they want to make sure that it's a good environment and also get the results out of it. So they do other stuff like free gym access for our players because they want to make sure the players are in a better physical shape, because if they're in better physical shape, you go up the leagues, more people come in, there's more money over the bar. So it's one where they're willing to go the extra mile to help us out as a club, because the more we progress, they benefit as a venue. So it's a win-win scenario for both sides. And then in July this year, we played our first ever game. It's friendly, Canvey Island. And that's where I'm going to stop this show. So I'm kind of going to cut this into two. And then I'm going to have a discussion. What would that be, on the 30th of December? Obviously, we'll have played the Bellevue game at that point. And if you haven't, please get in touch quickly for the coach, because there is only a handful of seats left. It's going to be a full great atmosphere. So you don't want to miss out. But do not leave it till the last minute. If you email us Wednesday, Thursday, there might not be one left. So if you want to come, get in there ASAP. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll do a bit of where we are in a week's time, but then I'll probably look at that second part of the journey, sort of from that first ever friendly through to where we are now and the end of the year. But as always, thank you so much for your support. Up the rocks, and have a fantastic Christmas wherever you end up drinking.